Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's 1 million by 1 million strategy roundtable for entrepreneurs. 1M by 1M, as you know, is the first and only global virtual accelerator for technology startups. Our mission is to help 1 million entrepreneurs reach $1 million and beyond in annual revenue. In support of that mission, we've been doing these free mentoring roundtables since the fall of 2008. This is actually before the 2010 launch of the 1M1M program in its, full incarnation. So this is the 606th roundtable. Hundreds of thousands, many 100,000 people have participated in these programs. And we've had the privilege of working with entrepreneurs from all over the world, literally. The event is being recorded. You will be able to find all recordings of the 1M1M roundtables in our YouTube channel, 1M1M Roundtables. And on Twitter, if you're live tweeting today, use hashtag 1M1M. You can follow us at 1M1M and at Romana. These are the call-in instructions. We are not ready for call-in, and we have an absolutely jam-packed program today. We have 6 scheduled conversations. So I'm not sure if you're going to have a lot of time to, do a lot of Q&A, but I will do my best. And your computer audio, by the way, also works. So there are lots of ways, and the public chat works throughout the program. You can interact, ask questions through the public chat as much as you want. So now, before we get going with the entrepreneur pitches, I want to set some expectations. This is a safe working session. You don't need to be defensive. You don't need to be nervous. I'm on your side. We are all on your side. So my job is to tell you candidly what I think of your business and how I think you can improve your situation. This includes, if I see something glaringly wrong with your situation, I will tell you. I'm not going to mince my words. I'm not going to try to dip it in a big sugar syrup to make you feel better. I'm just going to tell you as I see it. And that gives you an opportunity to, do things somewhat differently. That's really the spirit of this program. Entirely constructive, entirely on your side. Remember one thing. If you disagree with me, that is entirely your prerogative. It's your venture. You can do whatever you want with it. Consider the feedback. It's based on a lot of experience. Remember another thing. Not all businesses can raise money. Not all businesses should raise money. Raising money is not a guarantee of success. Okay. Prashanth, could you please unmute your line from Bangalore, India, and tell us what MADSTO is?
Sure. Thank you, Shramana. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. Yeah, MADSTO is a combination of 2 words, mad and story. So let's dive into it. Welcome to MADSTO world. So yeah, so every person has a story and every story is unique. MADSTO is trying to reflect those stories through its products and its philosophy. We are a young mass premium clothing brand offering high quality on-trend clothing at affordable prices. So these are the products of our brand, just to get the feel of it. Why do we exist? There is a lot of consumption in terms of content, right? People's aspiration levels are as high as ever, right? Mm-hmm. But there lacks the access to it, right? People are looking at celebrities, looking at the lifestyles. They are aspiring, but there lacks the accessibility with respect to both your distribution and affordability. And that's where we want to pitch in, and we want to be that aspiring brand story. Yeah. Can we move on to the next slide? Yeah. So hi, I'm Prashanth. I'm the founder of this brand MADSTO. I've got 12 plus years of experience in online and offline fashion space. I've worked with these brands like Indian Terrain, High Design, Lifestyle in my various stints. So I've graduated from NIFT, Bangalore. Before that, I have done my engineering from Bangalore in industrial engineering. Next slide, Shani. So talking about the market opportunity, I would be focusing on the central orange circle, online fashion retail. That is where I'm focusing on, which is $10 billion market, which is poised to grow to $35 billion in the next 5 to 6 years. And this is being driven by the young population of the country, right? They're spending 78 hours of their time on the mobiles, on the internet. So the future brands are going to be built there. So the opportunity I'm talking about it is for such a large market. There are less than 30 brands in such a large country. There are less than 30 brands with a revenue north of 1,000 crores, right? That is where the opportunity I'm talking about, which will lead us to the next slide. So the problem I'm talking about is there are roughly around 4,000 brands, fashion brands in India. 97% of them are in the bracket of 1 to 100 crores, right? 97. See, it's such a cluttered market. They're not able to scale.
Prashanth,
Sorry.
I'm going to stop you.
Yeah.
This is not the way to present market opportunity. It doesn't matter how many brands have gone to over 1,000 crores.
Sure.
Because there is no guarantee that you will get there. The thing that I am looking for when I'm looking at this slide, what I'm looking for is another, smaller concentric circle, which is your target audience. Your target audience is not the entire online fashion retail market. Your target audience is a very specific piece of that based on age group, based on lifestyle, based on psychographic, based on demographic. What is that much smaller circle where you are focusing?
Okay. These are the young millennials, so to say, Shramana. I mean,
What age group?
15 to 35.
15 to 35. How many of those are there?
How many?
How many of those are there?
As on today, less than 25 years of age. Half of India's population is less than 25 years of age. So
yeah, but there is
it's a large
also
chunk.
household income there. I mean, this is not all of India is your target audience. There's a household income segmentation. So segmentation is missing from your market side. I'm not going to spend all my time here because I have to work with other people, but just focus on segmentation. This is not the way to do segmentation. You really need to get to the heart of your total available market analysis, including how much do you expect them to spend per year, etc. There's a bottom up TAM analysis that is missing from your market sizing presentation. Keep going.
Yeah. So the access to capital for this industry was always alien. I mean, as we speak, it is alien. So the solution would be the access to capital, and then increase your catalog assortment, and then expand your sales footprint, and then
you do not present anything by saying access to capital is the solution, because you're not going to have access to capital until you get to a certain level of validation. Tell me
it looks irony. I'm sorry, Shramana. Sorry to cut down. Please go on. Sorry.
Well, I'm saying that access to capital is not a solution to anything. Access to capital will be available to you when you have validated and shown velocity. Capital doesn't come to entrepreneurs that easily.
Yeah, I'm talking with respect to the industry, Shramana. Fashion industry has been run always has been.
Industry. Please don't analyze industry. Present what you are doing. Why are you?
That is what I'm coming to. Allow me.
Let's just get through to where we start talking about what you are doing. Is this? Yeah, this is you, right? This is good.
Yeah, this is me. Yeah. So we have sold 60,000 pieces so far in the last 3 years. 8 lakhs per month is our average revenue. And we started selling online in the last 3 years. We have reached 1 crore 5 lakhs revenue annually this financial year. Our average bill value is 600 rupees. Yeah, we can move on. Yeah.
And what are you selling? Is it t-shirts?
Yeah, it is coming in the next slide. Yeah.
Perfect. This is
so on the left hand side where we are selling, and on the right hand side what we are selling. So AJIO, Myntra, Amazon, Flipkart, Meesho, JioMart, these are the channels that we are selling on, and also our own website. AJIO and Myntra has got a larger chunk of it because they are fashion centric, and so it matches with our ethos. And we are currently into menswear. So our killer categories are bottom wear, track pants and shorts. Yeah, which contribute to 90% of the sales. Yes. Yeah. And so there is a lot of scope to expand into other categories within menswear, and then there are other verticals like women's and kids, and then they have got their own categories.
And why
Yeah.
do you think you're selling well in track pants and shorts? Is it because there is a low competition? Most of the market is focused on women's clothing and you're focused on men's bottom wear. Is that why?
No, the t-shirt market in both in men and women is very cluttered because it is a low cost product, and
Yeah.
everyone jump into there. And so we have tried and also the bottom line. I mean, the profitability for bottom wear works much better than t-shirts.
But competition is low. Is that why you're winning?
Competition is low. The key answer is competition is low. Yeah.
Competition. Okay, got it.
These are the our competitors, which are completely similar to what we do: Campus Sutra, Bewakoof, and Indian Garage. So these are roughly around 250 crores. How have I aspired to be one of these in my journey? How did they reach 250 crore? They have not done anything. I mean, out of the box. They have extended their catalog and be there with these marketplaces. What is happening is these marketplaces are spending thousands and crores on the digital marketing spend. So we just have to be with them with larger assortment, and that is what they have done. Once even our thought process in the brand is that once we are that sizable brand, by leveraging these marketplaces, we can use that cash flows into our D2C instead of directly going into D2C and spending on CAC, right? Customer acquisition cost.
And these three that are in your direct competition,
Yeah.
are they into bottom wear? Men's bottom wear?
Yes. Yes.
So they are in men's bottom wear. Okay.
Yeah.
And do you have any idea how much men's bottom wear they sell?
Yeah, yeah. So bottom wear for all of these is roughly around 35-40% of the overall quantity that they sell.
Okay. Okay,
So yeah.
keep going.
So what are our moats? What are our moats? We have reached 1 crore revenue with just one employee in the
That's
last
great.
3 years. Yeah, with just one employee, and he's not skilled labor, right? I'm just using him for picking and packing. I mean, is much better than skilled labor by now. Yeah, and
you're,
our unit economics is
you're doing the pick pack ship yourselves.
yes. What happens is we get the orders, we pick pack, and we keep the shipment ready. Those Mintras, Ajios, and Amazons come and pick it from our warehouse. This is the model.
This is very interesting. Plus size penetration. So
Yes.
if
So
your
plus size
competition,
penetration, plus size is booming as an industry, right? I'm one of the initial customers of plus size where I was not getting whatever. Yeah, it is true. So wherever I was searching. So
are your three major competitors, are they strong in plus size, weak in plus size? Is that a gap?
No. That is why I have included this point in my moat. My
Good.
contribution of 45% is my contribution of plus size is already 45%. The industry standard is at 20-25%.
Okay.
So, and we have launched like 7 to 8 months before. So that is something we really want to push into
How big
going
do you
forward.
think a business can you build if you focus on plus size bottom wear for men?
I think for the next 5 to 6 years, it is an easily 400-500 crore market. I mean,
Just the plus size market.
yeah. It is
That's
going
your
to be exploding.
answer. That's your answer. So now do the TAM analysis based on plus size market, plus size bottom wear for men, and see how.
I'm not only bottom wear, but entire assortment, like top wear and bottom wear.
And
Yeah.
that is still an opportunity. The entire assortment is an opportunity also.
Yes.
Okay. So then I would.
Women also, right? Plus size. I mean, women are more fashion centric when it comes to men.
Yeah,
comparative. Yeah.
but you know, I think fashion brands work well if you focus.
Yeah.
So I think if you're finding a niche in plus size men's, and that niche is a gap in the market, I would build your business around plus size menswear.
Yeah, got it. But what is happening is now that plus size is booming, everyone we were the early movers, no doubt on it. But everyone is catching up on that. Everyone is realizing that plus size is going to be the big thing, and so everyone is including the range in their portfolio.
Yeah,
So
people including the range in their portfolio is one thing. Building an entire brand around plus size is a different thing.
okay, yeah.
Right. So that's this I learned a long time ago, is that these plus petites, these off-center businesses can be gigantic businesses. And
Yes, yes. And this is possible only because of this online exposure, right? Previously, it was offline, like 10 years before. So
yeah.
we were not able to, get those products
Okay. So I
as
think
easily as.
a fair bit of feedback. Do you have any other questions?
No, 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 Sharma, you, I- so yeah, yeah, definitely I have. My question is, so is it wrong to play on the consumption story, Shramna? Because you should be knowing the consumption story is the narrative for the next 5 to 7 years in India.
No, there's
So
no
there is a
problem
lot of
with
consumption that is going to happen.
there's no problem with playing the consumption story. You just have to play it very precisely and
So
very right, because that story has already been explored. It's not a new
so
story, and there are lots of best practices in that story.
sure. So what I am facing is what is different, what is different. So from being from the fashion industry, I just want to touch upon 2 points. No matter how different you are or how innovative you are, what research and development you are getting into, the next day the design is copied with the image, not even with the product. So that is how challenging it is. One, being different with respect to product, and every brand has got its own ethos, right? If my brand wasn't different and was not liked by people, I wouldn't have sold 60,000 pieces in the last 2 to 3 years, right? So every brand comes up with its own different ethos and its image. So the differentiation part will that will handle the differentiation part, and just riding on the consumption story is that wrong, is what, because everyone I'm speaking to
There's no
is like,
problem. There's no problem with writing with the consumption story. If you go with the, your positioning is a reasonable positioning. It should be this. You haven't presented what we talked about just now. Is not what you have presented. You need to shift this pitch to a plus size menswear brand, and do all the pieces. In a investor pitch deck, there needs to be a lot of things, and those things are not here. First, the most important thing that's not here is the TAM analysis. So go do the TAM analysis, and what will happen is, if you, as you start executing, people will start getting to know the brand, and you're going to be able to develop more of that brand image, the brand equity, so to speak. You're going to be doing YouTube marketing and so on and so forth, with which people are going to start to know your brand, and you can differentiate on quality, you can differentiate on all kinds of things, not just design. So, but fashion has always been a competitive marketplace.
correct, it's a cluttered
So,
one.
and fashion has always been incredibly easy to copy. So even if you look at the Chanels and the Louis Vuittons, they're getting copied and knocked off in China, and that is just the reality of this business.
Yeah.
There is
Yes.
no going around it. So
Yeah.
figure out, the good thing is you've already got the hang of it. You're already selling with a very lean team. So now start positioning it properly, and just put all your throttle into the plus size men's market. We can talk more after I finish working with some other people. I will try to leave time for Q&A if we get through everybody, okay?
Sure, Sunil. Yeah, that was.
I will explain to you how to use 1 million by 1 million after we finish the presentations.
Yes, Sunil. Sure. Thank you.
You're welcome. Diana, please unmute your line.
Hi.
Oh, more fashion. Today seems to be beautiful. Okay, go ahead.
It's about technology, actually. So my presentation is not a pitch deck per se, because we're not looking for financing, but rather I'm looking for advice from some intelligent women and men. I'll give you an introduction to the technology. So basically, we started in the UK, then moved to the US, then moved to Russia, and then moved to Dubai. We started as a B2C business and grew from 0 to 40K in 3 months with $0 budget. We're featured in Best New Apps, Best Fashion Apps, got acquisition offer from Google, and were already signing the agreement with eBay in the US. And my visa got declined. I was switching from B1 to O1, and I had to return to Russia because I'm a Russian citizen originally. While in Russia, I remembered one of the investors saying that if I was willing to switch to B2B, he would invest. And that we've created an incredible algorithm for retailers to grow their revenue. Because what we do, next slide, please. So we did a survey whilst we were in the UK, and according to our survey, 83% of women wanted recommendations the way they understood personalization. They wanted a recommendation for their body shape, age, occasion, and season. And none of the retailers seem to understand or know how to automate it. A few years ago, Nordstrom did a similar survey. So our kind of survey base was 1,000 people over 16 years old. Nordstrom's user base was 4,000 people. And then their figure grew. So with a few years down the line, even more people wanted personalization according to their age, body shape, occasion, and they wanted people to, retailers to account for what they already had in their wardrobes. Because unless they were going to a wedding, only 50% of people were buying new head-to-toe outfits. Otherwise, they were just supplementing what they already had. Next slide. Next. So I was working at Goldman Sachs at that point, and I couldn't believe that such algorithm did not exist. So I sold my flat in Russia, and I financed it myself. I created the algorithm, and it immediately was, so in our apps, the conversions were just unbelievable, plus 299% in conversions for Mango and 778% for Uniqlo. When I moved to Russia, I tried to see if that would work within one retailer space, because when we were doing B2C, we saw that people usually shop from 6 to 13 retailers.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody was shopping head to toe in a single retailer.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't sure I was able to add value to them. But when we were in Russia, we did a pilot with one kids wear brand, and the results were incredible. If we scroll to the next slide. Next. Next. Yeah. So in 2 days, we literally sent one newsletter to 36,000 people, and we had 44% uplift in revenue and 23% uplift in average order value. And we never showed prices, so it shows kind of, we didn't show them discount, and that's why they rushed and bought more. We actually increased the revenue and showed that if our algorithm creates a good context, why offer a discount? The next one. Next. Yeah, so this one is interesting. So we did another test with them as well. And both tests contained only 5 looks. So by looks, so the algorithm takes what people bought. We get that information from the retailer on a depersonalized basis, and supplements those purchases with additional items that go well with what they already have. And it accounts for their body shape, age, occasion, season, and it understands it from the description of the item. We never ask a single question to the user or to the retailer. And it's a proprietary algorithm, and it is good, and nobody has been able to recreate it since then. So what I find inspiring here and what people find hard to believe is that we literally sent one email in each case and it had only 5 looks. So we get the hit in the first 5 looks. And we had the same feedback when we were B2C. B2C. People felt that the algorithm understood what they liked in the first 6 looks. So they convert well. No, go back.
Diana,
Yeah.
in the interest of time, let me start giving you some feedback. I know this
Yeah.
market very, very well because in 1999, I did the first personalized fashion venture on the internet. And it was a bit too early, but I did the same kind of research that you did, and I talked to the Nordstrom personal shoppers extensively. Our whole thesis was a personalized Saks Fifth Avenue, a personalized Neiman Marcus online. So I'm very familiar with what you're doing and what you're trying to do, and I know this market really, really well. So congratulations that you have made this algorithm work.
Thank you.
I think B2B is fine. If you can move this forward, by the way, you're in Dubai. Does that mean that you have now moved the business to Dubai because of your visa reasons? You have to operate out of Dubai?
Not visa. It's just because that's where we see future development, and that's where I'm developing now. Because in Russia, we've done kind of the basic development, and I'm now interested in Dubai, India, Indonesia.
Where are you going to do the customer development? If you're doing B2B, you should be working with the B2B retailers in the US and in Western Europe. I mean, you can do it in all the emerging countries as well, but there's a lot of retailers and a lot of online retailers who would also be wanting to use your product. So you have to, if you want to build a B2B business, you have to learn how to build a B2B business. I think you have something very interesting to sell to the B2B situation. But it sounds like you have not a lot of experience of building a B2B SaaS business. And I think we can do something interesting with your pricing model here, especially because you're giving me examples of sending an email newsletter, and already within 2 days you're able to show impact. That means we can do some very interesting things with pricing there. So I think this could be a phenomenal B2B business.
Thank you. That was my main question, the pricing. To scale, I need to get the pricing right.
Yeah. So just hang on. I will explain how to use 1Mby1M to learn what you need to learn, especially it sounds like this is something that you're going to need some help with, but you can get that help. The good news is that your product is working and you've tried it on customers. That's what I like the most about it. And I know this market cold.
Thank you.
Okay. Who is next? Whoa. Pabloo Alsahlani, San Francisco, California. Pabloo, please unmute your line.
Perfect. That's me.
All right. Go ahead.
Hello, Ramana. How you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Amazing. Cool. My name is Pabloo. Name of the company is Pabloo. It's pretty simple. We can go to the next slide. Ooh, you have the outdated. Could you update the slide deck? I just shot an email to Maureen. Or can we just stick with this one?
Just stick with it and just explain what you're doing, and don't worry about it.
All good. Yeah, we can do that. So our customer segment is online retailers, and we're looking at problems that they're facing. And after speaking to many of them, we noticed that they just simply operate at a thin profit margin.
Mm-hmm.
So an online retailer, apparel brand specifically, would go between 10 to 20 in profit margin. And they really want to optimize every transaction in their system. So online retailers see about 30% in returns across all transactions. And then that means if a retailer is making 5 million in GMV, they're going to spend about 105 on redundant processing fees, $105,000 on redundant processing fees and repurchases. And that's just a Stripe with the 2.9% plus 30 cents per transaction that you're familiar with. And to illustrate that a little more, it's just the refund. You have the primary purchase, and then a refund, and then a repurchase. And our primary segment is apparel brands and footwear, where the wrong item is purchased, the wrong size shoe is purchased, then it's returned, and then another purchase is conducted. So our solution is, instead of giving you a direct refund through your bank, we'll issue store credit. So we built a system that directly deposits store credit into a customer's virtual bank. We're calling technology a virtual bank. And essentially, it's a consumer-facing technology app that holds store credit, essentially. And then with that, we can provide immediate refunds. So refunds typically take about a week in the US, and they cost processing fees, and it's very difficult to negotiate the processing fees associated with these transactions. So and then also an interesting stat is, after a refund, about 70%, there's a 70% chance the customer just never returns, right? So instead of just giving them a refund, we're issuing store credit so that they can place their next order immediately, and they'll stay within the customer's ecosystem. They'll stay within the retailer's ecosystem. So we can move on to the next slide.
Pabloo, there's one question I have. I like the idea. The one question I have is that, the market is basically trained, the consumers are trained on expecting to get refunds, not store credits.
I love it. Yeah, correct. We can go on to the next slide. I think the next slide kind of encapsulates. So the proof of concept. My background's in startup. My last startup was in the food tech space. It was called 1Mby1M. And we collected about 20 different food delivery services in the US and put them all into one app. And it was very successful. We reached top 5 food and drinks apps on the App Store. We worked with Apple, and we gave Apple data for Apple Maps. So we did a lot of really cool stuff with that. But on the B2C product, we allowed a customer to check out within the app, and then we placed the order on DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats. And of course, with that, we had refunds. People wanted a refund if the order messed up and stuff like that. And with a refund, what we noticed was we'll have a negative cash flow on our Stripe account, and it would go up pretty high. So about $30,000, stuff like that. We'll have to spend a lot with the refunds. And so we wanted to build a solution that would just give the customer an immediate refund, because oftentimes they'll just come back to our customer support team 3 days later and say, "Where's my refund?" And that would just eat up customer support resource time and stuff like that. So instead, we built this system within the app that just allowed them to collect the store credit, and whatever they had could be used on their next order. So to incentivize them to getting that refund. So like you said, yeah, some customers don't want a refund. They don't want a store credit. They want an immediate refund. To incentivize them to go with the refund, with the store credit, we gave them a $3 bonus. We gave them a $5 bonus. It was a percentage of how big the transaction was. So it would say, do you want to wait a week and get a refund, or do you want something immediate? And on your next purchase, you'd have $5 extra to buy extra food. Right.
But to do that, you're going to need to finance that whole.
So the brand would finance that. And there's an incentive for the brand to do that. So with this technology, we scaled it to 3 million users. And we saw how effective it was. It was very sticky for the customer. And then this is the team. So that's my background. With 1Mby1M, we raised about 8.5. We did about 65 in daily GMV. And then my co-founder is also in the retail space and heavy on the content side. So
just a second, what happened to 1Mby1M?
1Mby1M is going good. I just migrated from 1Mby1M to build this over here. So 1Mby1M is in the Series A round.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing B2B. So I stepped down once we started doing B2B, and that's when we hit profitability. And that's when I made my migration over to Pabloo.
So, but you want to do this as a B2C?
No, this is B2B2C. So we sell the SDK to online retailers. So think like Banana Republic, Lululemon, Zara, the online presence they have. You just log into that. You have an account, and then you have a bank account, pretty much a piggy bank associated with the retailer.
So the consumer is experiencing different brands through one app?
No, they're going to bananarepublic.com, and Banana Republic, they're using our white labeled SDK.
Understood, but what is the consumer experience? The consumer experience needs, does that consumer need to have a Banana Republic app and a Zara app and all these different apps? Or
They need to have a Gmail account, log in with Gmail, log in with Apple, log in with Facebook. We're just doing the classic logins. And then some retailers that we're working with right now, they have their own account support system. So we're just integrating with that. We want to make it seamless so that you don't have to make an account for every store you shop at, because that's a lot of friction. We want to just so that if you log in with your Facebook account and you can just go from
it's a PayPal kind of concept.
exactly. So it's PayPal without the banking infrastructure.
Okay.
And then so it's with the benefits. The newer pitch deck would have been a lot better, but we can run through this. So it's a very versatile use. So once you have this virtual bank for store credit, you can begin to issue promo codes. So that's what we did with MailMe too. We issued promo codes. We use it as a virality token. And then you could also reward customer behavior. So you can incentivize referrals and purchases and reviews and submissions. And that's an interesting concept. If you have any questions in that, I can kind of dive into that.
So my question really is, what customer validation have you done? So there's these Nordstroms and the Neiman Marcuses. Have you talked to them? What is the feedback?
Right now, we're focusing primarily on the return processing fees. And we're working with two retailers. One in the footwear, which is obvious. You return the shoe because of the shoe. But it's interesting so that with the footwear, they have multiple product launches throughout the year, and that's when they see a spike in returns, and then they'll buy a new product. So they're really eager to adopt that. And then the other one, just an apparel brand. With the apparel brand, that's Parks Project, and what their problem is, for each refund, they're paying $9 for processing fees.
Mm-hmm.
And they're processing over 2,000 refunds each month.
Mm-hmm.
So like we said earlier, they have a very thin profit margin. So what Parks Project is doing, the founder of Parks Project began surcharging the customer that $9. So now imagine you get a refund from Parks Project, and now it's $9 less than you expected. So you're never going to return back, especially if you're a loyal customer. After your third, your fourth order, and that happens to you, you're never going to come back, right? So it's a very bad way, but it's a necessity because they operate a very thin profit margin, and that's just something they need to do just to keep the lights on.
And what is the business model that you're going to be using with these two that you're working with in your beta situations? What is the business model?
Correct. Go to the next slide.
Next one.
Yeah. So it's looking like this. Based on the number of monthly active customers they have, anywhere between 5 cents to a penny, depending on how many monthly active customers they have. We are looking at more flexible models. So with these two customers, it's a baseline of 1K, and then anything above that, it's 5 cents. But we're looking at different models. So there are some customers we're speaking with right now, and they want to adopt, they want to check it out. So we're experimenting with a usage base, so they could get it for free, but any refunds processed with the virtual bank will take a small cut with that. So we're exploring something like that as well.
I don't understand your business model, and that's not a good thing because you have to simply be able to explain what is this business model. So let's just brainstorm for a moment. What makes sense as a business model? Is it a transaction-based business model? Is it a SaaS product? What are we talking about?
It's usage-based. So this is a conditional equation. It's just Calc 3, but it'll be 5 cents per monthly active customer with a baseline of 1K a month. So anything.
So it's a SaaS model, but it's based on monthly active customers.
Correct.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And this slide that you have here, is it a bottom-up TAM analysis or is it a top-down number?
This is
It's a top-down.
It's top-down. Yeah, but the market.
Bottom-up TAM analysis.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is just the fundraising info. We raised 10%, and we're gonna. So it's for product development, software spending, and then the sales team. So we're working with that. And the accomplishments is onboarding 40 brands. So the milestone is to, if you move on to the next slide, the goal is to onboard 40 brands by December, and we'll obtain about 500K in ARR with this technology. And the retention rate on this is 100% because this is a very ingrained technology within their business model. They can't just substitute with something else.
You haven't talked about competition. Is there anything like this out there?
There's Loop Returns, and then there's Happy Returns, and there's Returnly, and then those three they're mainly so Happy Returns is fully on the logistics side, which is a very big problem as well. So just the logistics of returns are very complex.
Yes.
We're focused on the processing fees, and that's Loop Return. Loop Return is the main one that kind of supports. They support exchanges, so you can exchange your item for something else, and then they also support a store credit mechanism, but it's limited, right? So ours has it's a virtual bank essentially. They just have this store credit, kind of like a voucher or like a promo code type of thing. For us, it's more of this underlying technology, the virtual bank, and then processing refunds through this, and then eventually scaling it out into doing a little bit more than that.
Okay, good. So let me finish the other discussions and we will come to how to use 1 million by 1 million on the fundraising side. We do introduce you to investors, so we'll be happy to do that. You're going to need to kind of go through our process.
Excellent.
Melissa?
Yes, it's Melissa. Hi, Sramana. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Okay, so I'm excited to speak with you today about Skimmit. And Skimmit is a revolutionary tool to help you increase monitoring and engagement inside of social media. Next slide, please. So I am the co-founder of Skimmit. I partnered with an incredible team of developers and amazing people in the industry to build this out. Our ideal customer are people who are, to start, business owners who want to increase sales, manage their brands, build communities, all while saving time on social media without losing effectiveness. Next slide, please. So essentially, Skimmit allows you to laser target relevant conversations inside of Facebook groups to start through keyword notifications so that you can be the first to respond about your product or service. Next slide, please. Essentially, our go-to-market strategy is fourfold. This is an example right now of our go-to-market strategy because I utilized a press opportunity to sign up and apply to be here at this roundtable, but we'll be utilizing digital marketing, expanding our sales team, partnerships, and public relations and other press opportunities to spread the word about Skimmit. Next slide, please. So before I go into our TAM analysis, I want to point out a couple of statistics for you. First of all, according to Hootsuite, approximately half of Facebook's 2.91 billion users are active inside of Facebook groups every single month. There are so many people that are utilizing Facebook groups right now. We, like I mentioned, are starting in Facebook groups, but we have plans to transition into Reddit, LinkedIn, Twitter, and other social platforms as well. Next slide, please. So as you can see here, we have a lot of opportunity with the compound annual growth rate of 24%. There already are so many people that would be excellent candidates and users for the social listening space, but that industry is just going to continue to grow over the next 3 years and beyond. Next slide, please. So we do have other people who are utilizing keywords to monitor Facebook groups and other social platforms, but the difference is Skimmit is being the most aware of the user's needs. So we allow you to prioritize the keywords that matter most to you without having to cut off notifications for all keywords. But the biggest thing is that we allow you to receive these notifications in the moment that they are posted inside of these Facebook groups or other social platforms. So we help you strike while the iron is hot, where
Am I the only one who has lost Melissa's audio? Or do you guys hear her?
I think it's her connection's off.
The connection is off here. Okay. All right. Well, we'll let her come back in. In the meantime, let me keep going with the. Is Harish pitching? Maureen? I don't see Harish in the panel.
Mana?
Yes.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, so as I was saying, with some of these other competitors, you either have to go in and manually search for the keyword to see if it was ever used,
Yeah.
or you have to just wait and there's a scan that goes on every few hours or so, but you're not able to respond immediately in the moment when the posts that you care about are made.
Melissa, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
There are like tons and tons and tons of Facebook groups and similarly tons and tons of Reddit groups and so on and so forth. Do you have any sense of what percentage that actually has product or brand related conversations? Because there's a lot of just, whether it's politics or music or,
Yeah.
context that doesn't necessarily have a brand, relevant brand in discussion.
No, I'm so glad you asked me that question because that actually isn't something that I've considered before, but you're absolutely right. I know, for example, that there are 33.2 million business owners inside of the United States, but I should look and see how many, like what percentage actually have Facebook groups and are utilizing Facebook groups to grow their business and prospect new clients. So thank you for bringing that up. I'll definitely look into that
Because
statistic.
you're predicating your whole investment thesis or your business thesis on the fact that brands are and products are being discussed in Facebook groups. And how much of that is actually happening? That's something that is key to whether your business, how big a business do you have here is the question, really.
Fabulous. Thank you. Is it okay if I just write that down really quick?
You will have a recording of this available, so you don't have to write it down. So everybody, no need to take notes. Recordings available.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sramana. So our business model is really simple. We have a free version that allows you to have up to one alert with notifications. Alerts are essentially the categories of things that you care about, the category of keywords that you want to be notified about. But inside of one alert, you can monitor unlimited Facebook groups with up to 20 keywords or key phrases. The next tier is only $19 a month for up to 10 alerts, and then $49 a month for unlimited alerts.
Okay, here's a very important question.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have to support a lot of free customers or free users, you need another alternative way of financing that period. No revenue is coming from product usage. You need another way of bootstrapping that period of zero revenue business building. How are you going to do that?
Right, that is a great question. So right now we have a very small team. So it is me diving into conversations with our users, and I'm doing research individually inside of their Facebook groups or the Facebook groups that they are interested in monitoring, and giving them ideas on why they would benefit from multiple alerts as we increase users. We just barely launched last month, so we're very, very small right now. But as we increase users, then our sales team will grow, and we're going to be providing
a $19 a month application or a $49 a month application cannot be sold by sales teams. It has to be sold entirely by digital marketing.
Okay, thank you for that feedback.
So this business is going to otherwise it's not going to be profitable. You cannot call people and sell $19 a month subscriptions. That's just not a reasonable go-to-market strategy.
Okay, thank you so much for that feedback. I appreciate it.
So you have to rethink your go-to-market strategy.
Okay, yes, ma'am. So here's a breakdown of our use of funds. One of the biggest places where we want to allocate funds is for software development. As I mentioned, we are currently usable inside of Facebook groups, but we really want to expand that into LinkedIn, Reddit, and other social platforms as well.
No, you don't. At the moment, you don't need to do anything. You need to prove that your Facebook product works and can generate revenue.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for that feedback. All right, so that is my presentation. I'd love any feedback. If you have more that you can offer me, Sramana, I appreciate your expertise so much.
So Melissa, you're not ready for fundraising.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
Which is why the question that I asked you is really, really important. You have to figure out a bootstrapping strategy that can get you to the level of validation where you can become fundable.
Okay.
Or it has to get you to profitability, one or the other. Either you have to get bootstrapped to fundraising, or you have to bootstrap to profitability. That's the only way you're going to survive as a business.
Okay.
So that strategy is absolutely critical.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
I will go over in a moment. I will go over how to use 1Mby1M for all of you. Let me just check a couple of things with Maureen. So Harish had to reschedule. Okay, Harish's slides I'll skip over. And Prashanth, can Prashanth dial in, Maureen? I know Prashanth really wanted to talk. Prashanth is a premium member of the 1Mby1M program, and I just introduced him to a big prospect. And he's had a meeting and he wanted to update me on what happened at the meeting. So I would love to talk. So see, let me go through the 1Mby1M, how to use the program portion, and you figure out with Prashanth if he can dial in, and we can just chat. He doesn't need slides or anything. Okay, so folks, if you like what I'm doing here, what we are doing here as a 1Mby1M team, please refer serious entrepreneurs into the program. As you can see, I'm giving you exactly what I see. I'm telling you absolutely candidly where you can improve, what your problems are, where your gaps are. So it is really a completely unvarnished truth kind of approach. So if you like that approach, by all means, tell your friends and colleagues to come, and I will be happy to help you and help them. So resource-wise, we have accumulated a ton of resources so that you can learn and you can move forward. All your journey begins at 1Mby1M.com. The website is rich. There's a terrific blog that has been going on since 2005, and it's free. So you can definitely go there and search, read whatever you want to read. The Entrepreneur Journeys book series is a nice learning opportunity. We've done 12 volumes of case study based books. Each volume has 12 to 16 case studies. That's one way people are learning. These roundtables happen every week. You're welcome to come back as many times as you want. You can pitch for free only once. So you want to access me on a regular basis, which you can. You need to be in the premium program. And there we offer extensive methodology guidance. We have a full digital curriculum, many thousand hours worth of curriculum. We help you with business development where I have contacts, where we have contacts, we will introduce you. We give you this exact session that you experienced today happens on a continuous basis in our private roundtables. So if you're a premium member, you can come back as many times, you can talk to me as many times as you want, you can pitch, refine your pitch, etc., anything you want, any strategy discussion is game. Now, on the financing side, we do work with hundreds of investors. We have relationships with hundreds of investors. We will happy to introduce you. With one caveat, you have to become financeable by our judgment, and not everybody comes into the program fully camera ready to be sent to investors. So today I showed you gaps, right? All of you I've shown you gaps of where you are missing things, and those gaps need to be filled before I can send you to investors. See, the reason investors work with us is because we do all that homework and due diligence before we send them to investors. And the investors love that because then they get something much more mature, much more camera ready, and then they can make an informed decision. And there's also, investor entrepreneur fit is something that we emphasize a lot. Not all investors invest in all kinds of companies. So several of you have pitched fashion ventures. There are specific types of investors who invest in that kind of stuff. There are other investors who like deep tech. So the deep tech guys are not going to invest in fashion, and so on. So there's a lot of investor in entrepreneur fit seeking that goes on. I suggest you look at the self-assessment on our website and ask those questions. These are the VC due diligence questions. You will need to answer these questions if you're preparing for fundraising. There is a less than 1 hour fabulous bootstrapping course on our blog that is available for free. LinkedIn commissioned that to us, and we developed it many years ago, and hundreds of thousands of people have gone through this course. It's very crisp. It explains to you why you need to bootstrap. There's no choice. You have to bootstrap. There's no choice. We've also started working with Udemy a couple of years ago, and we've released a lot of courses, a lot of our curriculum onto Udemy that you can acquire for very, very inexpensive price points. So go look at our Udemy courses, and that could also be a starting point if you're looking for a low price point starting entry into the 1Mby1M program. Udemy is a reasonable one. Our entire curriculum is available also at $99 a month through 1Mby1M Basic. So dig around on the website, 1Mby1M Basic, Premium, what to expect from each of those, FAQs, video FAQs. The curriculum is described in full. One thing, let me point out, several of you I've talked to about bottom-up TAM analysis. No investor is going to touch your deal with a 10-foot pole until you provide a clear bottom-up TAM analysis. So if you don't know how to do bottom-up TAM analysis, please go to the curriculum and learn from the market sizing module. It is one of our most heavily used modules. So you do need to learn that aspect of business building. Another one, several of you are doing B2B businesses or B2B2C businesses. We have a very heavily used module, which we call Sales 2.0. So it's basically, if you have 1 or 2 customers, how do you go from 1 or 2 customers to 5 customers, 10 customers, 50 customers, 100 customers, 500 customers? That whole development process of a repeatable sales process is the determining factor between a scalable venture or not. So definitely try to understand that and implement that. So there's a lot you can do, just through the curriculum, and you're welcome to do all of that just, by self-learning. That's fine. We are a case study based program. Thousands of successful entrepreneurs have participated in this program, given their case studies, lessons from the trenches generously. We've captured all of that, and all of that, thousands of hours worth of case studies are available for you to learn from experienced entrepreneurs. And in many of these cases, there are blueprints of different journeys in different segments. So in your segment, you can very well find a blueprint that you can learn a lot from, an entrepreneur whose footsteps you can follow in, and that's often a very useful way to learn. If you're coming here for investor introductions, please do study the investor introductions policy on our website. It's an important piece to go through just to set expectations. Our philosophy is bootstrap first, raise money later. And it's not a gratuitous philosophy. It's a philosophy because that's the way the industry works. Investors today are very used to bootstrap businesses getting to a lot of validation and traction. So they are looking for businesses that are bootstrapped to a certain point so that they can come in at a slightly later point and have a lot of de-risking already happen before they come in. So my take is, do not go to investors as beggars, go as kings. And if you can really get to a certain level of validation, then investors chase you, and that's the perfect place to be in as an entrepreneur, where investors want you and you are in the driver's seat. Okay, so that's that. The next free roundtables are May 18th, June 15th, and June 29th. I'm traveling for about 10 days at the end of May, so we don't have end of May roundtables right now. That is it. We have time for Q&A, great. And whoever has more questions is welcome to ask. You can ask through your public chat, you can ask through your computer audio, whatever you want. If you have questions about the 1Mby1M program after this session, feel free to call Irina on our team, Irina Patterson, irina@1mby1m.com. She'll be happy to get on the phone with you, or WhatsApp or Skype or whatever you want. Okay, anybody?
Yes, Samra. I just want to touch upon the access to capital point that you've said while I was pitching. So, but where I'm coming from is the fashion industry in India has always been run by these Reliances, Shopper Stops, and Lifestyles, the bigger houses, right? They always had this access to capital. They didn't need that external capital. Now the consumption pattern is getting changed, and younger generation is changing that consumption pattern, and people are looking for these smaller brands which are meaningful and purposeful, right? So these are the smaller brands that have the meaning and purpose, but are not able to scale because of lack of capital. That is where I was coming from,
Yeah.
right? From the industry
Capital,
perspective.
see, capital is always a way to accelerate growth. It's a way to scale, and you want to raise capital. I'm not discouraging you to raise capital. You just have to become fundable at the point where investors would be willing to give you that capital. You have to prove your investment thesis and show that you can go. See, what are VCs looking for? VCs are looking to go from $0 to $100 million in 5 to 7 years. This is the trajectory of a venture funded startup, a desirable venture funded startup. So you have to credibly make the case that you can travel that journey, and you know how to do that. This is really the game of how to become fundable. And that's something we can help you with. We have plenty of experience in doing this.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other questions?
I definitely agree with you on the going to fundraise after you kind of picked up early traction, especially over here. Investors want to invest and flip the switch to scale your company. They want you to prove the concept first, and that's what we've been seeing a lot from investors also on our end as well.
I have this favorite saying: investors love to come to the rescue of victory.
That's a perfect saying. I'm stealing that.
Unfortunately, this is the reality of the market we operate in.
Exactly, yeah. And we're seeing that too over here. Even in SF, they're very early adopters. I mean, some of them are kind of friendly, and the angel investors are kind of
friendly, but we also say that watch a VC's feet, not just their mouth.
Right. So right now they're just looking for, like, they want to see 5 MRR, something they can just flip the switch on and just scale it out. They want to see good retention. They want to see good metrics.
Yeah, which is why we emphasize so much bootstrapping.
No, that's a good start. Yeah. Well, bootstrapping for the initial period, and then you want to scale it out with the capital. So you said that you'd connect the startups to investors. Is that investors in the US or international, or what's the region for the investors? And are they angel investors or VCs or angel groups?
All of the above. There are lots of micro VCs in the early stages. Right now, there are lots of micro VCs operating. A lot of angel investors have become micro VCs, have raised small funds, and many solo VCs, one general partner VCs. They call themselves VCs. They're really angel investors, but they are operating with a little more capital than, maybe $15 million funds and so forth. It's like full of them. And the market, basically, they have the game that they're playing is they start with a 5 million, 10 million, 15 million fund. They run through the cycle of one fund, get some track record, then raise the next fund that is maybe a $30 million fund, and then get to a $100 million fund. And that's the whole game of the angel to micro VC to VC transition. Okay, yeah. I need to take a call from Pankaj. Pankaj, please unmute your line if you're in the call. Pankaj, are you there? What's happening? Anybody else? Any other questions?
I just dropped my LinkedIn in the chat. If anybody wants to connect, feel free.
Are we allowed to ask very specific questions?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So you mentioned that you had interesting ideas on the pricing. plans that are possible? What did you have in mind?
Well, your most obvious pricing idea is going to be a SaaS idea. But in the kind of business that you are, in the kind of use cases that you described, you could potentially do a gain share kind of model as well, pricing model as well.
We are doing that. And that's, interestingly enough, we started. And it seemed like we are aligned with the retailer and they like it, but there are so many unseen hurdles that we're trying to switch to the fixed plan. And every time we're offering, people are saying, no, we want to do the percentage share.
Right. So I think what is going to happen, Diana, right?
Yes.
What is going to happen is that you're going to penetrate the account with a gain share plan, and then you're going to move to a flat plan as the usage increases, because once you enter the market and prove that you can do it, and they get comfortable with your value proposition, they will not want to give you the gain, unfortunately.
It also becomes difficult because you are kind of competing against yourself. If they can increase their revenue by 44% in 2 days on 10% of their trade, why shouldn't they restrict it to 10%? They can do it for 100%. And then we are just competing against ourselves, and there is only so much that you can do it by.
You can see, if you can prove that you can really do this well, and you can do the proof of concept on gain share, you will be able to charge a good amount of a subscription fee. So it's fine. If your proof of concept is based on gain share, and if your sustainable business model is a SaaS business model, monthly subscription fee, that's fine. As long as you can charge a good amount of money on the subscription fee, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Pankaj, are you on?
Yes,
All
I'm on.
Go ahead.
So, so last week we had the meeting with Persistent,
Yeah.
but I haven't heard back from them. So I want to circle back. I did send an email to Manoj, who was the head of trainings, and
He was on the call. Manoj was on the call.
I don't no, he was not on the call. Someone, one of his reports was on the call.
Who was on the call? Who chaired the call that you did?
His name is Vinesh. Let me.
You need to follow up with Vinesh, not with Manoj. If Manoj was not on the call, he hasn't heard anything. See, you can't, until the people who have listened to you, you have to go through them up the chain of command. So if you bypass Vinesh and go to Manoj and then go to Anand, who's the CEO, they have no way of evaluating. They have already assigned somebody, Vinesh,
Okay.
possibly, to evaluate your business. So the follow-up right now needs to happen with Vinesh. Don't send any message to Manoj. Don't send any message to Anand. Just work with Vinesh first.
No, I've already sent one to Manoj, but I'll follow up with Vinesh again.
You need to do a proof of concept with Vinesh driving that proof of concept. You've done the Sales 2.0 module in the curriculum.
Yeah, I did it.
So you know the concept of the internal champion, the technical decision maker, and all that.
Yeah,
Manoj may be the economic buyer. Your champion, your technical decision makers are these people like Vinesh and whoever else was on that call. So let's work with the hypothesis that Vinesh is both your champion and your technical decision maker, and work with Vinesh. Don't follow up with Manoj.
Oh.
You're losing the opportunity of working with the person who can actually move the needle.
Yep. And there were some other accounts as well. So Magic EdTech and others. And, that I'm following up with. But should we? There were some emails we sent to to other emails, other introduction emails. Is it possible should we follow up in case they
Follow up?
missed it?
Sure. You can follow up, no problem. Whatever I've introduced you to, it's perfectly okay for you to follow up on. If you haven't heard back, it's okay to follow up.
Okay, sounds great. Sounds great. I can do that.
Okay, great. So I think we have covered everything for today. Good luck, everybody. My philosophy is that if you make a little bit of progress every day over a 365-day time span, you make an enormous amount of progress. So I hope you have a very, very productive, week, and maybe I'll see you next week. Bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for the time.